The next group of exercises we'll be using resistance bands. So in this case we're going to do some push-ups on the wall. The resistance bands are just above the knees so that we're actually going to activate the glute muscles at the same time. So Karen has some push-up bars that she's going to put onto the wall, and Steve is going to do it just with his hands. We come up to the toes, coming in, core is activated, pelvic floor is activated, and we will do about 10 of those exercises. Now we can move those hands around to work on different muscle groups. So the closer the bands, the more you work the triceps. You can do a nice wide one so you bring some lower muscles in as well. Push-ups are such a great exercise because they work so much of the body. Good. We will progress a bit later and do some on the floor and the bench as well. Okay, so we're going to do some leg abductions. You can hold on to the wall if you need. And we're going to take the leg that is closest to the wall towards the wall. What we're trying to do here is to make sure that there's not too much of a lean on the body. We lead with the heel, not the toe. Try and stand up. Make sure the leg you're standing on is slightly bent. This is working those nice hip muscles that we need for our everyday life to hopefully stop us from having a hip replacement. And then of course we would do the other side as well. It's not a big movement. It's really important that you lead with the heel. The toe does not go forward. And then we have the extension. So both of you can actually face the wall, touch the wall if need be. Okay. Point the toe, so squeeze the buttocks and lift away. Anytime that you're one-legged standing like Steve is, you actually work the leg that you're standing on more than the leg that you're taking back. And of course we would change sides. Now, Karen is going to demonstrate a split squat with the broomstick. The broomstick allows you to keep good form, straight up and down. We might get Karen to move sideways so you can have a look at how she keeps form when she does that. Beautiful, straight up and down. Just from using a simple piece of equipment like a broomstick. A bit easier on the knees as well. Good. Serratus anterior exercise. So we're going to get Karen to stand towards the wall. Pop the ball between the arms so that and then push in to the ball and then lift the ball up. So really look at those muscles working in that mid-back area. Push it in, lift it up. fall in and lift it up. Anybody that has winging scapulas, it's a really nice exercise for them. We're going to do some exercises on the body elastics now. The first one we're going to do is a high pull. Fabulous exercise, really working those upper back muscles, working on the scapula, the area where we spend most of our life hunched over. And we're going to go from there into a backward lunge. If ever you have some knee problems and you think that you can't do a lunge, this is the exercise that you can do. So we're going back and we're doing a combination exercise. We get a lot of bang for our buck doing this sort of exercise. Working just about every muscle in your body. We might go from there and we will go into a one-handed tricep pushback. One foot forward. Really works it nicely. We might turn around. And pushing forward, pushing forward. And then you do the other side. Notice that the foot that is going forward, same one as is the arm going forward. Good. We'll then go on to a pile-off press, so a bit of abdominal work. The band is in the middle of the door. Coming out. We're going to bring that into just in front of the chest, and then we're going to push out in front and then back. So what we're actually doing is we're doing what we call resisted abs. So what you're doing is you're making sure that that band does not go back towards the door. Sometimes it wants to pull you, and you've got to work really hard to stop that from happening. From this one here, we can do a square at the end. Really starts to work those abdominals. And of course, you do that back the other way as well. And you'd always do that both sides. Turn around and do the other side as well. Of course, we're breathing through all of these exercises, and the pelvic floor would be on. Great exercise, and we don't have to use the neck at all, because one of the problems with doing things like sit-ups is that it often compromises the neck area. We're going to do some leg work now. So we're using the heavy bands. Steve is using the heavy bands. So he's going to do a monster walk. Made more difficult by the bands above the knees. Now we're going to do a crab walk. So stepping with one foot, bringing the other one in the same distance. Really working those outer gluteal muscles. And often really good for that lower back at the same time. And of course we'd go back the other way. The next lot of exercises are going to be particularly good for people who might have osteopenia. So we want to get some good stamping done in these exercises. So the first one we're going to do is called the clock. So we actually step at 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then we'd go back the other way. Good. So we're going to be doing a lunge using an unstable surface. We'll step forward onto the Bosu and then back into a lunge. So we'll do 3 on one side and then 3 on the other side. Okay, and stepping forward, step, and step back into a lunge, step forward. Really need to have proprioception in that foot. Good core control to make sure that you keep that balance. And then we'd swap to the other side. We're usually better on one side than we are on the other. And last one. Good. Excellent. So we're going to work with the sandbags, and these sandbags have just been made at home with sandpit sand, some duct tape and a little bag. Okay, we're going to do the ABC through to M and in capitals. And keep your elbows tucked in. B, C, D, E, F, G, don't move your body. J, K, L, and M. Okay, so there's some more sandbags here. So the first thing we're going to do, Steve's going to go up onto his toes, taking the sandbag up and over his head, and back again, and then over, one more time, and down. And you would do that a few times. Quite a difficult exercise, all right? Really works the core. Then we're going to do a chop. This replicates perhaps picking something up from the ground and having to put it up overhead. And then we do that on the other side. Brings in squats, really works the whole body, and it's a functional exercise. And we might do a between the legs. Again, a nice way of doing a squat, getting a bit of movement while you're doing it. A lot of people find it easier to do this than a straight squat. Next exercise is a postural exercise. So we've got the band with the thumbs pointing out, and we're going to take that out, keep the elbows tucked in, and really feel those scapulars coming together. We make this more challenging by going into firstly stack stance. Use a few more muscles. Then going into tandem stance. And of course you'd put those feet, could go onto one-legged. So every time you make it a little bit more challenging, you work more of the muscles. Posture is really, really important that we do that. And you would do that on the other side as well. Of course, this brings in your balance at the same time. And now I've got Karen, and we'll do just a little bit of mobilisation with the broomstick. So it's like being in a kayak. Lovely exercise, really working those shoulders beautifully, working the core. Excellent. I'm going to finish off this section with some abdominal work. First thing we're going to do is to do some marching. So Karen will do it from the floor, just one at a time marching. And Steve is doing it on the fit ball. Takes quite a lot of core control. Good. Now we're going to have Karen doing a one-leg drop. So she's going to start that up there, take it down almost to the ground and then back up again. Steve is going to go down onto the floor and using the ball as a prop, he's going to take that over his head and then put it into his legs, taking the legs down to the ground and then come up, take the ball and over the head. Now, Karen, change legs, please. And then Steve is going to go opposite arm and leg. Having good control. Karen, I'm just going to turn you over to do the IYTW, to the Y position, to the T position, and then W. One more time. And that concludes the exercises at home.